Hi everybody, my name is Dr. John Lucio. Welcome to our channel, J&J House Call. This is my wife.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jennifer Sue. We practice in Jefferson City, Missouri.
I practice pain management and integrative medicine.
And I practice conventional gynecology and integrative medicine. So you may be wondering, what in the world do they know about ulcerative colitis, which is our topic today. We are not primary care doctors in our practice. We do integrative medicine, which means that we try our best to help you with your other doctors. Ulcerative colitis is a disease that definitely requires you to be under the care of a gastroenterologist, not one of us. Then whenever you have questions, ask us, because integrative doctors don't want to take you away from your other doctors. We integrate care. This is an important disease and it can impact your quality of life and maybe help you prevent having to have surgery and even prevent ever having it. If you never joined us before, we upload 2 videos a week, always on a Sunday and sometimes between Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, whenever we have time to upload the video. But they're all about what we love, which is integrative medicine, because we believe in your body's ability to heal itself, looking at you as a whole person.
Ulcerative colitis is under the umbrella of inflammatory bowel disease, which includes Crohn's disease as well. And we're going to focus more on ulcerative colitis, which actually it's an autoimmune disease. Both of them are. It's characterized by remissions and relapses in symptoms, and it tends to affect mostly the colon, as you can imagine, and seems to be rising in incidence in our country.
At this point, if you got the diagnosis of ulcerative colitis, you already were like, what in the world caused it?
There are certain things that we can do to help prevent the onset of it. One of the most easiest things to do would be to avoid unnecessary use of antibiotics. In our culture, we're actually very used to being giving a pill for almost all infections, and sometimes it's not indicated, and really try to avoid prolonged use of antibiotics in children. The second thing really is really basic, is just to eat a diet that's high in omega-3 fatty acids and that are high in fiber and fruits and vegetables, and avoid what is considered the typical Western American diet, which includes a lot of fried food, red meat, foods that include processed grains, those kind of things. And there's things that you can do once you do get the disease. It helps actually lessen the severity of it and allows you to be used along with the normal medications that you would normally get from your gastroenterologist. And one of them includes curcumin, which we've talked a lot about in some of our past videos. Curcumin is a very versatile spice that can be used as an anti-inflammatory agent for musculoskeletal issues, but it's also used to help decrease some of the severity of the symptoms of ulcerative colitis, and typically you have to take at least 1,000 milligrams twice a day. The next is omega-3 fatty acids in the form of fish oils, and those do tend to not so much help with actually the severity of the diseases, but they actually can help with decrease the frequency of the really bad episodes. And typically you have to take between 4,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day.
With the fish oil, I wanted to add is that it will cause a lot of abdominal distension and bloating and belching. So to prevent that, what you can do is actually freeze the entire bottle of fish oil, and so when you take it, you have less fishy burp back.
The next thing is something called germinated barley foodstuffs, and can be used as secondary prevention for ulcerative colitis. And you typically have to take 20 grams a day. The next thing you can try is a commercial product called VSL number 3, and that is you use 3 sachets a day.
With the VSL number 3, just make sure that you're not sensitive to corn.
The next thing you can do as a secondary prevention if you have ulcerative colitis is to practice mind-body relaxation techniques. Stress plays a big role in making this condition worse, and some of the things that you can do is hypnosis and mindfulness training, and we've talked about that in some of our other videos.
I think is so cool about what we just covered is that you are going to be able to work with your doctor. Now that you've already seen how you can prevent it, but you do end up getting it, your doctor is probably going to put you on pharmaceutical drugs called 5-aminosalicylic acid derivative drugs. So these are 5-ASA drugs. They also may use glucocorticoids or tumor necrosis alpha blockers. And if our secondary prevention and your drugs don't help, they may have to resort to surgery, which is colectomy, which means resection of the diseased part of your colon. This has possible complications of pouchitis, which is inflammation of the region where your pouch is made once the colon is removed. And what he mentioned with the VSL number 3 is that it can protect against pouchitis, and it also prevent recurrence of the pouchitis.
For those of you that have ulcerative colitis, you may ask yourself, well, what kind of things make it worse? And some of the things are a lot of in our diet. Complex carbohydrates, refined sugars, animal fats will do that. Alcohol, gastrointestinal infections, and prolonged use of tetracycline type antibiotics, particularly doxycycline. One of the other things that can make ulcerative colitis worse and Crohn's disease is melatonin. And it does this by inducing Th1 lymphocytes. And unfortunately, a lot of people take this to help them sleep, so be aware of that. And the last thing, but not least, is stress. Stress seems to make almost everything worse, and in this case, ulcerative colitis is no exception.
The next part of our video is in depth on the 4 additional ways that we can treat our ulcerative colitis. If you've already tried everything he's talked about with prevention, you get it, and then now your doctor's tried all the traditional medical therapies and you're still getting secondary recurrences of these. So the first thing is nutrition. With the diet, you have to have an anti-inflammatory diet, limit the alcohol, like he said, limited the refined sugars, the red meats, and pretty much the standard Western diet, which is also called SAD, which is made of a lot of processed foods. This helps with long-term disease control and overall health. At the beginning, your doctor may try you on an elimination diet to see what foods actually trigger recurrences of your ulcerative colitis as well. With the anti-inflammatory diet, you also want to add prebiotic soluble fiber-rich foods. And this is going to be a lot different than the Crohn's disease diet, because with Crohn's, sometimes if you have too much fiber, it can aggravate it. So remember, this video is only about ulcerative colitis. Now with the second part of the 4 parts, we're going to be talking about supplements. And for each supplement, I'm going to address like certain people that this will really help, and then we'll go into what the supplement is. We'll put it on the screen on what the dose is, but some of them are good for just anybody. So there's a lot that we have to get into, and as you know, this isn't my field, but we want to do a good job, so we wrote them all down, and so you'll see me looking at them. First off, if you are taking a 5-ASA medication like sulfasalazine, or you have high homocysteine levels that are not due to a low B12 status, you can take folate 1 milligram a day, and you want to get tested to see if you're adequately getting that level up. Because if you're not getting the level up, then you do have to see if you have MTHFR homozygosity. So that's a gene test, MTHFR. The next group of people is if you have ileitis or a prior ileal resection, or you're receiving folic acid, or you have a high homocysteine level. So for these people, you want to take vitamin B12 at 1 milligram per month. The third one is just a regular vitamin B6, and that is 10 to 20 milligrams a day. And it's a vitamin D3, and you do 1,000 international units a day to maintain your vitamin D level to be at least 40 nanograms per ml. The fifth is for if you're on steroids or if you have low dietary calcium. It's calcium 1,000 milligrams a day. You have a steroid-induced glycemia. That means because you're on steroids, your glucose levels are high. Or if you're on central parenteral nutrition. For this, you should take chromium, and it's up to 600 micrograms a day. The seventh is zinc sulfate. This is for people who have a draining fistula. So you have a fistula that's actively draining, or you've had recent surgery, or you're having acute severe diarrhea. Take zinc sulfate, 220 to 440 milligrams a day. He's already mentioned the fish oil, and the fish oil should be 4,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day of both the DHA and the EPA. And as I mentioned before, make sure you freeze the bottle so you have a lot less of the fishy burp back. The ninth one is for everyone. It's prebiotic oligosaccharides. And you want to get 10 grams a day. This can also cause bloating and gas. Like I eat a lot of chia seeds and they cause me a lot of bloating and gas. The 10th one is germinated barley foodstuff, which is what he's mentioned. So the GBF, and you need to get 20 to 30 grams a day. And again, this causes bloating and gas. And the final supplement is HMPL-004. This is an extract of an herb called Integrative paniculata. And you want to take 1,200 to 8,000 milligrams a day, but this has a side effect of possibly causing a rash. The next group is biological agents. So this is the VSL number 3 that he talked about. This is a commercially available product. Do not use this as if you're sensitive to corn, C-O-R-N, corn. It restores the gut flora, so it restores all your good bacteria in your gut, and it helps reduce inflammation and reduces bacterial translocation. So you're going to want to do 1 sachet 2 to 3 times a day. The next biological agent is the last one we're going to cover is for people who have refractory disease and they have a low DHEAS level, and it's DHEA, and you want to take 200 milligrams a day. And finally, the fourth category of things that you can help your ulcerative colitis is botanicals. So the first of the 2 botanicals is one of them that he's already covered, which is curcumin. And like he said, you want to take 1,000 milligrams twice a day with meals. And the reason for the with meals is it helps it stay in the gut where you want it to work, the anti-inflammatory properties. And the second and last botanical is called Boswellia serrata gum resin. And you want to take 350 milligrams 3 times a day. And these are for people who cannot tolerate 5-ASA derivative medications. So that's it for today. It's quite a lot to cover.
And we just want to remind you again that this does not replace the conventional therapies and medicines that you're normally taking. All this is intended to do is to give you an integrative medicine approach with that actually provide you some substitutes if you can't tolerate the medications or you need to decrease the dosages that you're normally taking. Midweek check-in, we're going to be talking about the medicinal uses of culinary mushrooms.
They taste really good too.
They do.
He's a good cook.
Thank you. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for joining us. And next week, we're going to be giving you an update on the functional medicine, integrative medicine approaches to hypercholesterolemia. So long, everybody.